Thank you. Well, I am not good at this. So why isn't she's you know the beat? You see which turns in. Yes, he's getting some.
Good morning, Marquise. Good morning.
No.
Morning. Can we say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Connie and Bill, are you ready for guest announcements?
Yes.
Morning. Morning. We have two guests this morning. First is Ashley Blackwell. Ashley.
Morning.
Good morning, Ashley. And Mike Smith, the speaker this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
Welcome guests to York East Rotary. 50-50. Connie? Big pot.
It's 519.
Was it 519?
Sandy.
Yeah. I know that Wendy has an announcement. Oh, sorry. Happy dollars. It's fine. Tim.
It's a 500,000. Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
Good morning, York East. I have two happy dollars for two former members that I saw just the other week at the Uptown Club. Becky Disney, who ran our golf outing for quite a few years. Her older son is now driving, so she has a little more free time on her hands, and her husband can join her for those. And also Betsy Buckingham, who was our club secretary for many, many years. And Betsy and her husband are traveling to Washington State to see their newest grandbaby.
Any more happy dollars? Karen?
Half an hour, I'm going to do the Russ Tiller along the bottom 5, just to hit and a 5. You keep doing the count of the lighting. I'm actually an assistant there golf tournament in fundraising that's coming up. It's August. You can go over. So if you're interested, let me know or go on their website.
Oh, when and then where?
It's out of Hardwood, Sunday, August 16th.
Connie?
I know you have to go. What's the reverse? Okay. I want to thank everyone for the little gift this morning for all your support for the year. We finally got all 3 grants approved by Rotary International. National Convention, everyone playing lots of music for people from Honolulu, Honolulu, and that whole vicinity. Because people travel to make sure that no one got in at the convention, and so it's clear where everyone let us go. But they're approved, the money's there, the TV's there, the hospital is there, we're ready, and it's all because of your great support. You don't know how much we all appreciate it, and we'll bring you back pictures for the people who will really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Announcements. Wendy?
We have our first meeting in July after our regular meeting for anyone that's interested. Again, we'll do a small change right now, ready to go, ready to start gathering information. If we're not starting on information, you can help by giving us either a donation that we can go out and buy an item for our raffle or our auction. What are you donating? But as you're cleaning out your junk drawers and there's a gift for and if you like gift things, you know. So we'll take all gift cards or anything that you think would be valuable and bid on. So I'm going to know.
Any other announcements? Joanne?
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker and my fearless leader, Mike Smith, President and CEO of the YMCA The Roses. Mike was born and raised in York, graduate of Central York High School and York College of Pennsylvania, where he earned both his bachelor's degree in business management and his MBA. Mike spent 8 years working in the United Way system in fundraising and community leadership roles, including serving as director of workplace campaign in York. In 2012, he became executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters, leading youth mentoring programs throughout York and Adams counties for 6 years. Mike joined the YMCA The Roses in 2017 as executive director of the Southern Community Services YMCA in Shrewsbury. And since then, he has served in several leadership roles across the association, including Director of Operations for City Center YMCA in downtown Lancaster, and later Vice President of Operations for YMCA The Roses. In August of 2025, Mike was named President and CEO of the YMCA of The Roses, where he now leads the association's work to strengthen communities across York and Lancaster counties. Mike lives in York with his wife, Alicia, and their 3 children, Bella, Camille, and Brennan. They're members of Living Word Community Church. Mike remains deeply involved in the community through volunteer leadership with the organizations including the Panther Foundation, York City Little League, York County CTC, Junior Achievement, and York College. Mike is also a proud Rotarian and graduate of several leadership York programs, including the Leadership Training Program, Mentorship York, and the nonprofit Leadership Academy. And he didn't want me to read that whole thing, but I did it anyway. So without further ado, Mike, please come on down.
You guys hear me okay? If I just kind of clip this thing here. Well, thank you, Nate. Yeah, you didn't need to read all of that, but it's always interesting when you hear yourself introduced. So I guess I don't got to tell you who I am. So Nate took care of that. But it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you all today to tell you a little bit about the YMCA, to give a little bit of an update. Maybe you're wondering, what is the YMCA or what's the YMCA, the Roses? We'll cover some of those topics here this morning. But as a fellow Rotarian, I've been a Rotarian pretty much my entire working career. I've been inducted into 4 different clubs, a total of 5 times. So it was in Hanover, it was in Southern York County, it was in Lancaster, I'm currently a member of the Downtown Club. But I've always appreciated the work that Rotary does across the communities that we serve. And I love all the shapes and sizes of the different clubs. So this is a pretty good size. I've been in big ones, small ones, and everywhere in between. So I appreciate the work that all of you do. A couple things I'd like to cover today, tell you a little bit about what the YMCA does. Talk a little bit about our history. It's a pretty big anniversary year for YMCA of the USA. Here in the United States, we're celebrating 175 years of service this year, and almost 180 years of delivering on the YMCA mission across the world. So the title to this presentation today is Building Stronger Communities, literally one relationship at a time. So I just kind of give you the point to, there's a clicker, I can click my own.
Turn it on. There's a power switch on the side to turn it on.
So on. Well, in the meantime, maybe Greg can click to the next slide for me while we figure that out.
There we go.
So how about a quick show of hands? What do you think of when you hear YMCA? How about a hand and shout it out? I heard it. All right, go to the next slide. Let's get to that's backwards. Other way. The village people. What else? Anything else?
Free advertising on the politics these days.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The free advertising for the politics, with politics these days.
Okay, free advertising, but when many people think about the YMCA, they think about gym, swimming, pools. We do a lot of childcare. Some, like the young lady in the back, think of us as the village people. But really, these are all sort of parts of the YMCA, I guess. Maybe not the village people, but they're certainly not why we exist and why we do the things that. We do a lot of senior programs. Yep, absolutely. So the YMCA really started with one young man. It was in England in 1884. A young person by the name of George Williams was the founder of the YMCA. He was 22 years old at the time, again in London, England. It was during the time of the Industrial Revolution when young people were flooding the city for work. And it really started with a group of 12 men, Mr. Williams being one of them, who met for prayer. At that time, I can promise you, it really wasn't to create and build gyms, but really it was an opportunity to build community. During that time, folks were, not all that different from how folks are today. They were moving to the cities. There was a lot of loneliness in the world. A lot of mental health issues. Maybe we call it a little bit something different today, but still very prevalent back then. There was a lot of isolation. Families were under pressure, and really people were searching for a place to belong. So even during that time, we're struggling with the same things that we continue to struggle with in the world today. So in my opinion, I think the YMCA's mission is more important than ever. So you may wonder why YMCA of the Roses. In 2021, it was a merger between the YMCA of York and York County, which had been in existence for nearly 175 years, and the YMCA or the Lancaster Family YMCA, two separate YMCA associations. The YMCA's is called a federated organization. We're organized into groups of YMCA's. We call them associations. They call it sort of a federated model, kind of like a franchise, I guess. Each YMCA has its own local board of directors. They hire their own local CEO. And they're really a reflection of the communities that they serve. So two different YMCA associations covering York, separate one covering Lancaster. And to be honest with you, the Lancaster Family YMCA, coming out of the sort of the Great Recession, they built a couple new branches, and they were really just struggling financially, which ultimately led them to looking for sort of a merger partner. So when we formed the two Ys, of course, the York YMCA, the White Rose City, and the Lancaster YMCA, the Red Rose City, together formed the YMCA of the Roselands again at the end of 2021. That story goes back, I believe, I'm not a history buff, but I believe to the 15th century when the House of York and the House of Lancaster were divided. And of course, there was a lot of infighting, but ultimately, as many romances or many stories end with a romance, I don't remember if it was the man from the York house and the woman from the Lancaster house, but sort of man and a woman got together, sort of ended that battle and really formed the two-door rose, which we think about today. But, you know, historically, is a historical perspective. But as we merge these two Ys, really you know, I had an opportunity early on to go, you know, I succeeded Deb in Shrewsbury. Nate mentioned that as part of my first started at the Y, managed the Shrewsbury location. And then I had an opportunity to go over to Lancaster kind of prior to the merger and learn a little bit about the Lancaster branches. So, you know, it's been interesting that, you know, being part of this merger process. Many of you maybe in your professional careers have been part of mergers, but I always thought that once we got to the merger date, like the merger process was done. Like, yeah, we made it, we merged. But the reality of it is that was really just the beginning of really merging these two organizations together. So it's been a lot of fun, you know, kind of bridging the divide. I would say the Lancaster YMCA probably needed the York YMCA as much as, you know, one needed the other. So it really has been a good partnership and a good marriage between the two organizations. It might be difficult to see. I've kind of snipped these pictures from something I found online from one of our reports. But really, this is a sort of a visual description of what the landscape of the YMCA of the Roses looks like today. We currently have, we'll be opening our 6th branch in Spring Grove later this year. So we have 2 branches in Lancaster, one in downtown Lancaster, one in Lampeter Strasburg, which is kind of out near Willow Street. If you're familiar with that area, West Lampeter Township. And then here in York County, we have 3 existing locations, the Bob Hoffman YMCA up in Dover, the Arthur J. Gladfelder YMCA in downtown York, as well as the W. Dale Brocker Foundation YMCA in Shrewsbury. And again, the 4th branch here in York County, we don't have a fancy name for it yet. We're looking for that $1 million donor to put their name on this, but the Spring Grove YMCA will be opening later this year. We also have the Graham Aquatic Center. You might be familiar with the Graham Aquatic Center, 40,000 square foot aquatics facility on Newberry Street. Literally have one of the top swimming programs in the entire country that uses that pool. We just, I think, 7th in the YMCA National Swim Competition just a few weeks ago. So that's a quick snapshot of what our association looks like. But really, it's all about the mission and the impact. The people that we serve across this association. So our mission really hasn't changed a whole lot. It's to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. We practice that mission through our values of faith, hope, love, honesty, respect, and responsibility. And we have a vision that relationships collectively and collaboratively address and resolve people's needs in building strong communities. And that's kind of what we have on paper right now. But as I was thinking about taking over this role, I've been in this role now almost 11 full months. It's hard to believe how quickly time flies. But really, for me, it's less about buildings. Yeah, we have a lot of buildings. We have a lot of real estate. We own a lot of assets. We offer a lot of programs. But really, we want to be an organization that's more than programs, facilities. So we really want to build stronger communities by creating places of connection And again, back to, what the needs are back in 1884 and really what the needs are today is people are so divided, they're so isolated. People are looking for places of connection, to build relationships, achieve their goals, and really an opportunity for all people to feel like they have a chance to belong to something that's a lot bigger than themselves. So again, what does that look like? That looks like relationships. Again, we're in the relationship business. I heard somebody in the back talking about COVID. When you were stuck at home, really was an opportunity to build those relationships. So really that's what we're about. We build relationships with our members. We build relationships with our donors. We build relationships with our volunteers, our community partners. But really that's one of the core foundations of what we do. We want to help people achieve their goals. Folks are looking for, come to the YMCA looking to better themselves in a number of different ways that kind of comes to fruition. But whatever those goals are, they're looking to achieve those. And again, we try to provide a place for people to belong. We don't want to just offer programs and services, but we want to change lives in the communities that we serve. We do that kind of in three sort of core focus areas. We call them youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. So kind of in the youth development area, if you will. We do a lot of work in the way of childcare. We have early learning centers. We do before and after school programs all across the landscape of the YMCA. Again, all 6 branches pretty much participate in some version of childcare. Probably one of our more difficult lines of business in the world today. It's just very difficult to operate a childcare center given all the rules and the regulations. Summer camp, very active right now. I think we have about 800 unduplicated campers across the landscape of the YMCA. That also includes Camp Spirit, which is another facility that we have up in Mount Wolf. I didn't mention that. It wasn't part of the wheel earlier. But again, we do summer day camps across the landscape of our Ys. Lots of sports activities, of course. A number of sports were sort of invented or started at the YMCA at some point in time. Volleyball was known to have its foundations at the YMCA. Of course, James Naismith developed the game of basketball at the YMCA, not because he wanted a sport to play, but he had a group of unruly kids and he didn't know what to do with them. So he hung a basket on the wall and gave them a ball and really gave them an opportunity to give them something to do. So, we do a lot of sports programming for swimming. How many of you learned to swim at the YMCA? I know at least one gentleman in the back. That's just lifeguard certifications. Yeah, absolutely. Do a lot of swimming. Again, swim teams, swim pools, lap swimming, swim lessons. Of course, lifeguard certifications, all part of what we do. And then leadership development really is it's a big, broad sort of topic, but we do a lot of youth development programs, particularly in the city of York. We've taken on a number of programs that sort of were standalone programs that kind of have found a fit here at the YMCA. Most notably, the Temple Guard. I'm not sure if you ever saw the Temple Guard. It's a step drill team that performs in the community, merged with the YMCA a number of years ago. We have a robotics program for STEM learning for kids that literally build Lego robots, and as they progress and get older, they deal with metal robots that enter competitions called Young Thinkers of York. And then probably our flagship youth development program is our Y Achievers program, which is a college and career prep program where we work with kids throughout their sort of late middle school into their early high school career to teach them about what the college path looks like, all the things that they have to do to achieve that goal in their future. So that's a little bit about some of the work that we do in the area of youth development. Healthy living. Again, a lot of people think about the work that we do in terms of health and wellness. We serve a very large senior population that's probably continues to be one of the largest growing populations of people that we're serving at the YMCA. As folks are moving into retirement. And again, it's all about for them a place of connection, an opportunity to build relationships, participate in meaningful activities that can help them achieve their goals. But a number of different wellness programs. Of course, you're probably familiar with our workout facilities, group exercise classes. Do a lot of work in the area of chronic disease prevention. We have a Live Strong at the YMCA, a program, a 12-week evidence-based program for cancer patients and their caregivers, part support group, part health and wellness journey for individuals who are dealing with the cancer diagnosis. We do a lot of, I would say, a lot of work. We sort of have a number of different sites that have programs that support Parkinson's patients, including in Shrewsbury, where we have a rock steady boxing program. Believe it or not, boxing, cycling, ballroom dancing, all have had known to have impacts on Parkinson's patients, as the sort of the neural pathways in the brain are broken down by the disease. Those commands help to refire those neural pathways. So I'm not a boxer, jab, uppercut, hook, just following those commands really helps to kind of regenerate those pathways. We do a number of different programs around, again, diabetes prevention. We do some blood pressure, help people monitor their blood pressure. So again, a number of programs in the chronic disease world. Again, active older adults is a very large population. Maybe you've heard of silver sneakers. So we have, but literally hundreds and hundreds of older adults participating in our silver sneakers programming across the landscape of our Ys. Not doing a whole lot by way of mental wellness, but again, health and wellness kind of all goes hand in hand, including the mental side of that work. And then the third bucket our programs fit under is social responsibility. Not many people know, but the YMCA, particularly here in York County, does a significant amount of work in the way of housing. So we have a separate sort of sister organization called the Y Community Development Corporation that has developed a number of affordable housing projects across downtown York. And we have about 106 affordable housing units across the landscape of our Y. We have a men's residence. So many YMCAs back in the day had sort of hotels. And I think that's what the downtown York branch at one time had. It was a hotel originally designed, and then it became like a room rental type of facility. And there was a lot of riffraff going on in the room rental space. So in the late 1990s, we converted them to SRO, single residency occupancy units. So when you're driving down Philadelphia Street, you look at the side of the building along Philadelphia Street, you'll see a lot of the windows up. That's essentially our men's residence. We have 114 rooms in addition to 6 emergency rooms. And literally, we have about 110 formerly homeless men that live there every day. So it's literally mission-based work, 365 days a year, 24/7. I've not been all that exposed to the housing side of the work that we do. I spent most of my career on the gym and swim side of things, but it's really difficult work taking care of formerly homeless men. That some of them literally have no family. The people that they live with here at the YMCA are their family. We are their community, and we deal with the men through all of the challenges that they have: mental health, substance abuse. Even up to and including, unfortunately, death in some cases. As we've dealt with a couple of men who have, their lives have ended living in YMCA housing. On the Lancaster side, we operate the Clay Street Low Barrier Homelessness Shelter. So if you're not familiar with the homelessness situation in Lancaster, really not all that different from what's going on here in New York. The only difference being is the encampments are not right in the downtown space like it was in Lancaster. So you can imagine if all the homeless people gathered on the square of York, it would be a quick uproar, and the community would come together real quick. And that's what happened a number of years ago in Lancaster, as the Homelessness Coalition put together an initiative to build the state's first ever low barrier homelessness shelter, which is in the basement of the Clay Street Otterbein Church on Clay Street there in Lancaster. It's an 85-bed facility, 60 men, 25 women. It's open 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 365 days a year. That includes when it's extremely cold outside. So earlier this year, you probably remember the winter storm. Literally, we kept the men in the shelter for 48 hours straight, as it was unsafe to send them back out into the blistery weather that we were having at that time. But again, the community that, we're here to meet community needs. When the community in Lancaster built the Clay Street shelter, put out an RFP to the community, and no one wanted to run the shelter, including two past providers, which operated sort of the versions of the shelter that led up to the Clay Street shelter before it was built. So again, no one wanted to run the shelter. Wasn't me who raised my hand. I give all the credit to my predecessor, Larry Richardson, in all his wisdom. I remember when he came back to the branch one day and said, "We're going to run the low barrier homelessness shelter in Lancaster." I was working in Lancaster at the time. I said, "Who are we?" But again, no one wanted to run it. And when no one wants to do something, that's an opportunity for us to kind of step up and serve the community in that way. It's gone remarkably well. 2025 was the first full year of the Clay Street shelter being operated. There were over 600 unduplicated guests served by the shelter during that year, and they lived there, stayed there overnight for more than 29,000 bed nights in 2025. So it's significant work that we're doing. I say on any given night, YMCA housing across the landscape of our Y, we're probably housing more than 500 people overnight. So again, that Clay Street work starts to heat up a little bit over the next couple of days as the temperatures get into the 100 degrees. So we extend our hours to help take care of the folks who are participating at the Clay Street shelter. We do a number of social services programs that not many people realize. I know when I first started in Shrewsbury, we were just sort of merging with the Southern Community Services Program. At one time, again, a standalone nonprofit organization. We do a lot of utility assistance. We do some rental assistance. We have a food pantry there in Shrewsbury. So really, it's a social service program in a very rural community where they don't have the amount of services that we have here in New York City. And then in downtown York, we have our new American Welcome Center, which works with our new immigrant population who is coming to this community. Most recently, that has been serving predominantly the Haitian community. There's an estimate of more than 16,000 Haitians that live in the city of York. Again, they speak a different language. They clog up the health system as the health system has been challenged to, translate simple, medical procedures and, all of those things. So the Welcome Center is part of the work that we do there. We do food access. We feed kids all over the city in an after school program. Of course, we offer a number of different scholarships for individuals and families. And then just a tremendous amount of community partnership because, of course, we couldn't do this work on our own. I covered most of that. But the exciting news that I want to share with all of you, I know we're not in the Spring Grove community, but I know the Spring Grove community is very excited to finally have the opening of the Spring Grove YMCA. It's a project probably honestly, 10 years in the making. It's at the site of the old Spring Grove Middle School. So if you're familiar with the Spring Grove campus, it's the first building that you come to before you get to the elementary school, the intermediate school, and the high school that sits behind that first building. It has a red roof. They call it the Pizza Hut building. So if you drive by there, you'll notice the red roof, but it'll be the home of the Spring Grove YMCA, which we're finally excited to announce will open on August 3rd, 2026. Number of delays that brought us to this point, but we are finally excited to get started. We did open our early learning center in Spring Grove on June 15th, just a couple of weeks ago. And actually, I'm hopeful they're paving this week. At least one of the two parking lots that we have to finish yet, but we'll hopefully open a limited YMCA schedule within the next week or two, but a full grand opening on August 3rd. I always say that YMCAs, you've been to one YMCA, you literally have been to one YMCA. There's really no cookie cutter YMCA. All the buildings are different, the programs and services are different. Again, all a reflection of the communities that they serve. But the Spring Grove project is a unique one because of all the partners that are coming together to provide services at the Spring Grove YMCA. So we took on this, again, it's an old middle school, 110,000 square feet facility. Of course, big partnership with the Spring Grove Area School District. We assimilated with the Spring Grove and Park Recreation Commission. So we are the Parks and Recreation Service provider for 4 municipalities out in that area, Jackson Township, Spring Grove Borough, and I'm going to butcher the other two, so I'm not even going to try to remember. But we took on Spring Grove Parks and Rec to become part of the YMCA. Again, we're providing those services but we have 4 nonprofit providers that are providing services, releasing space in the building. So Windy Hill on campus is the most active senior center in all of York County, been in the building for a number of years. New Hope Ministries will be opening their 11th location, health and human service provider, basic needs, help people upskill their job skills. They have a food pantry that'll be in the facility. And then a partnership between the Spring Grove Alliance Church, and they're partnered up with TLA, training leaders to athletics. So it'll be really cool to have all these partner providers providing services under one roof in the Spring Grove community. So we're really excited about finally being able to get that facility launched again on August 3rd. We do an awful lot, at the YMCA. Again, it's all about strengthening communities. It's all about providing places of connection for people, literally from cradle to grave. So again, as we celebrate our 175th anniversary here in the United States, they rolled out a new marketing campaign, which I believe fits. It's hard to tell the YMCA story in an elevator speech because we do so much. If we can use the healthy living and social responsibility and, the kind of those taglines, but it really doesn't explain the breadth and scope of YMCA services. So we're pretty excited to continue to expand on those services. Again, we've been on a tremendous amount of growth, really since coming out of COVID. Not too many nonprofit organizations have taken on as much as we have. So I do believe it's time for a period of stability as we get the Spring Grove branch launched. But we aren't actively looking at any new projects. Really, it's all about sustaining what we have, sustaining the future of our YMCA and taking care of the assets and the facilities that we currently have. So that's what I got. I'm happy to open it up for questions if anyone has them. Of course, I probably was amiss by not recognizing Deb Kleindetz, who I succeeded in Shrewsbury. So, Deb, I want to thank you for your service to the YMCA as well. In the back.
Obviously, you make a huge amount of money for the community. Where is your money from?
Good question. Yeah, so we're about an $18 million business, and some of my friends, you run a nonprofit. It's like, yeah, it's a nonprofit, but this is a big business. About 40% of our funding comes from membership. About 40% of the funding comes through programs and services, and about 20%, maybe 22%, is charitable dollars or contributed revenue. Contributions by way of grants, individual contributions, et cetera. Some of our programs are completely grant funded. Our Early Learning Center in Lancaster is a pre-K counts program, completely funded through grants. The shelter in Lancaster, completely funded through grants as well. But that's about our revenue mix: 40% membership, 40% programs, and 20% contributed revenue.
What is the size of your staff? How's that split between your place?
Yeah, so it's a large staff. We have about 130 full-time staff members across the association, but total employees is a little over 600. Now, 400 and some of them are casual employees, folks that teach a fitness class or work in a childcare center. So about 600 employees across the landscape of York and Lancaster. Easy bunch. Thank you for having me today. Hopefully, we learned a little bit something new about the YMCA, and again, appreciate the work that Rotary Club does. That we serve. I would say we're partners in strengthening the community together. So appreciate the work that you all do.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you bringing back the why of why we have the YMCA versus what it can do for us, and what we can partake in for everybody else. It's amazing. And we do have a book that we asked you to sign, and pretty relevant because it's going to go to your daycare. So, I have one announcement. Next week's program is going to be Silas Chamberlain, and he's going to be giving an update on the Penn State York campus. So, happy 4th of July, everybody. Please stay safe, enjoy it, go forth and give, as they're saying, and the meeting's adjourned. Hey.
Yeah.